Yes, it is turkey time, and specifically, it is smoked turkey time. We are going to be taking this 15-pound turkey and smoking it up out on the Lone Star Grill's offset tomorrow. Now, you can do this on any smoker, any grill, as long as you can maintain the temperature we're going to be going for, which is between 300 and 325 degrees. But that's tomorrow. Tonight, about 12 hours before this is going to hit the smoker, we're going to get this turkey in a brine. And a brine, or a wet brine, which is the one we're doing, is basically a solution which saturates the bird, usually a turkey or chicken, with moisture and flavor. So let's set this big old turkey aside and get our brine ready. Now to brine, you need a container. There are different ways to do this. I have my 22-quart brining bucket here. You could do this in a cooler with a bag and just keep it iced. In fact, Malcolm Reed did a video, I think a couple years ago or several years ago, on brining a turkey in an ice chest and keeping ice in there. I'll put a link to that video in the video description and up in the corner here, because you may not have room in your refrigerator to do it the way that I'm going to be doing it. I have a spare refrigerator that I can fit this in, and if you don't have enough room, one of those alternates like the one I mentioned with the ice chest may work for you, but you gotta keep your bird cold. So first thing I want to do is get some water in here, and this is just 2 liters of cold water to start with. We're going to be adding quite a bit more water than that, but this is just to help us start dissolving our brine seasonings. Now, classic brining solutions are really simple. It's kosher salt and sometimes brown sugar, something like that. People put a lot of different seasonings in there. It's really kind of up to you. And what I'm going to be using for this brine is a mixture of 3 seasonings: kosher salt, brown sugar, and a marinade, a dry marinade that I found. It's a Bold Citrus Marinade from Spanglish Asadero. What you normally do with that is mix it with some orange juice, rub it all over the bird, but I'm going to be using it in the brine today. Now, there is a consideration for this. This size bird, the recipe usually calls for a cup of kosher salt, but because this other seasoning, this Bold Citrus Marinade, has salt in it, I'm going to cut the salt in half that I'm adding, because together they'll be making up about that cup of salt. So we're going to start with half a cup of kosher salt, half a cup of brown sugar, and half a cup of the Bold Citrus Marinade. It's also going to give us some great color. I'm going to add another 2 liters of water here as we start mixing this together. And I'm just going to get down in here with the whisk. Another 2 liters of water here. Now we're going to get our turkey in breast side down. I'm going to add some ice cubes to really start chilling this down before we get it in the refrigerator, and then some more water to cover this. And then some more water here to help us cover our bird. If you have trouble keeping the bird submerged, you can always put sort of a heavy plate in there to hold it down. They actually make specific buckets like this for brining turkeys that has a little internal thing you put in there and you twist it, it'll hold the turkey down. But this is good. We just got the tips of our drumsticks sticking up. That's not going to be a problem at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get the lid on this. It's going to go in the refrigerator overnight. Really, I don't like to go longer than about 12 hours. You can really oversalt these birds if you saturate them for too long of a time. It's hard to get that salt out once it's in there. So I find that overnight, about 12 hours is fine. Anywhere from 8 to 14, but overnight, it's going to be just perfect. So we'll put this guy to bed in the refrigerator overnight, and I'll see you out at the Lone Star Grill's offset tomorrow morning. All right, here is our brined turkey. Went about 11 hours, and I've rinsed it off in the sink to get some of the excess brine off the exterior and patted it dry. Not super dry, because you want a little bit of moisture on the surface to take the rub we're going to be giving it. Because I think when I last saw you last night, I said, oh, I'll see you out at the grill. Well, that's kind of an important step we're missing there in the middle if we don't season this up on the outside. And the rub I'm going to be using today is Big Papa's Sweet Money. really good flavor to this rub. So let's give this a good coating. Make sure we give everybody a chance to get seasoned here, every part of this bird. And I have my bird on a little rack here just to keep it up off the bottom of this tray so that any moisture that drips off of it doesn't just sort of pool and it rests in it. Get a little bit inside our bird here. Make sure you get all the sides of your wings. And we'll be tucking the wings underneath the body of the bird as we roast this today. And yes, my shaker is going to get dirty because I'm touching it with a hand that's touched the raw poultry, so I'll have to clean that off really well. I'm really curious to see what that Bold Citrus Marinade that I used in the brine is going to taste like. Let me get my legs tied here before I transfer this to my turkey roasting rack. Yes, I have a specific rack that I use for roasting turkeys. I love the thing. People always ask me where I got it. I don't remember. It came with a roasting pan that I got a long time ago. And it is just terrific the way it has handles on the side. I've seen some similar, but never one exactly like that. Let me go ahead and tuck my wings underneath right now. Let me give a last little shake of seasoning while it's on this rack. All right, this bird's ready. Let's get it out to the Lone Star Grill's offset. So the Lone Star Grill's offset is up to temp. We're going for 300 to 325 today. I'd like it at that 325 range if I can keep it there. Using maple wood for smoke, and there's about a gallon of water in the cook chamber as you saw me add. So let's get this turkey on. So I have one probe in the thigh, one probe in the breast. I have my legs and thighs towards the firebox. They can absorb heat better, and we're taking them to a little bit of a higher temperature. So let's get this closed up and get smoking. So the breasts we're gonna be taking to 165 degrees, the thighs to about 175. And we're gonna come back in an hour and check this. I'll adjust the vents, add wood as necessary. So I'll see you back here in about an hour. All right, we've been going 1 hour. Our internal temps are moving along nicely. The thighs are a little higher than the breasts. And we are at about a 300 degree pit temp on the ambient temperature probe for the ThermalWorks smoke, which is lower in the chamber. That's registering about 20 degrees less, which is normal. So let's go ahead and take a look at this turkey and let's spritz it with our maple water mixture, which is a half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of a very thin maple syrup. That is looking really good. Let me just start giving this a quick spray here. And then we'll rotate our rack. So I can get this other side. All right, let's get this closed up and keep smoking. We'll check this again in about 45 minutes to an hour. Check the color. If it's got the color we like, we may throw some foil on it. So I'll see you back here in a bit. So we've been going close to 2 hours now. I didn't actually check it at 45 minutes. Let it go a little further. Want to see how we're doing? We're tracking about 7 degrees apart on the breast and the thigh, which is perfect. Ah, looking nice. All right, I'm liking the color of that. I think I'm going to put some foil on it, but I want to spritz it first. So that's just loosely covered with foil, and we're going to let this go until we reach our target internal temp. So we've been going just about 3.5 hours right now. Our internal temp on the breast is just about to hit 162. The thigh is between 175 and 180, which is perfect. Once we get it inside and let it rest for about 20 minutes, that carryover temp will bring the breast up to that 165. So let's take a look. There we go. That is looking good. All right, I'm gonna get the probes out, get it inside. Like I said, let it rest for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have a taste. And here it is, our smoked turkey. Took 3.5 hours out there. Had a real nice separation on the temperature between the breast and the thigh. You don't always get that, but keeping the thighs towards the firebox and tenting it with foil when necessary as the color came in, I think that does help. And we ended up with a really nice dark, rich color on this. You can see some of the skin pulled back here as this cooked. That's just normal. You're cooking on a smoker, a lot of times you are gonna get a darker color. That's part of the process, and that's how you get that flavor. Let me go ahead and snip the string here and get this off our legs. And first thing I'm gonna do is cut into the breast right here, get a slice out of that, and then I'm gonna separate one of the leg quarters. So let me cut a few breast pieces here for tasting. Those over here. I'll cut a couple of these too with the skin on the top. And now for some thigh meat. I've said it so many times, the dark meat, the thigh meat is my favorite. Let me just cut some here. And I'm just gonna dive in right here and taste. I'll start with the breast because I wanna end up with that thigh meat. As I always say, that's my favorite. So let's see, let's take a piece right here. Here we go. You get a hint of the citrus marinade, but really the thing that hits you is that Big Papa's Sweet Money Rub. That is fantastic on the skin on the outside. Now let's dive into some thigh. I just love this cut from the turkey. I mean, just look at that. All that fat in there. You're almost guaranteed to get a juicy part of the bird here when you do your thighs like this, get them to that 175-ish. They can handle even higher temperature. I mean, this probably topped out closer to 180. Nothing wrong with that. It did well. So if you do have the chance to brine, I highly recommend it, whether you're doing a whole turkey, a turkey breast, turkey leg quarters or drumsticks, just giving it that time to really get some additional moisture and flavor into the bird, into the pieces before you cook it. It can go a long way towards preventing dried out bird, dried out white meat, which is usually what dries out first. It really does help.